Hey everybody, hope that you're doing well. Today we're going to take a look at a few different ideas how to improve your productivity when you're just editing your videos and maybe make you a little bit faster. Let's take a look. So one of the first things that I think that would help make you faster and more productive when you're editing your videos is setting up some keyboard shortcuts. Now you may use the basic ones that came preset with the software, and that's fine. As long as you're using them, it might be speeding up the process instead of like clicking and dragging or going through a bunch of menus. Now the way I have my keyboard set up is totally different than what probably most people have. When I first started video editing, I was using Avid Media Composer and Final Cut Pro 7 when that was still around. But mainly I was using Avid Media Composer. So I got used to that keyboard layout and I was using the shortcuts all the time. But then I realized that there were a lot of commands that I was using that weren't bind to a key, or they weren't set up as keyboard shortcuts. So I had to look into making those as keyboard shortcuts. And then I just came up with like a whole layout of my own. Now within the last couple years I moved to Adobe Premiere, and that has been working out just fine. It really doesn't matter which editing software you use, they all cut video, so just use which one that you can get your hands on. Now with Adobe Premiere, the shortcuts were a lot different than Avid Media Composer, so I had to set up a whole custom keyboard layout. Now inside of Adobe Premiere, it does give you some custom ones, so if you're moving from one system to another, it does give you a keyboard layout for that. So I was able to choose the Media Composer layout, but there were still some keys that I wanted to change around. And so I went ahead and I moved in the commands to those certain keys. Now I'm changing my shortcuts every now and then, just depending on the project, and you just set up your keyboard for your needs. Now you can make multiple keyboard layouts, so if you're like an assistant editor or there's something that you're just doing all the time but you're only doing it for one specific thing, like bringing in clips and naming them, or maybe ingesting some footage from tape, then yeah, you might have just a keyboard layout for that. But if you're video editing, there might be a keyboard layout for that. Keyboard layouts are just a great way to speed up your productivity and just to make you a little bit faster. So if I'm video editing, there's one button that I like, and it's on most basic keyboard layouts, and that's the overwrite and insert buttons. So I can set my in and out points in the source monitor and just hit the overwrite or the insert button whenever I feel like. I feel like that's a little bit faster than going up and setting the in and out and then just dragging the clip down into the timeline, when I could just place my playhead where I need it to be and just hit a button. But go ahead and check out your keyboard shortcut settings and just see if there's anything that you can change to help speed up your process when you're video editing. Another way that you can help improve your productivity is by setting up workspaces inside of the editing software. Now I have 4 workspaces that I normally mainly use. I have one that I've called main, one that I have for color correction, one for graphics, and one for audio. Now depending on your computer setup, you may have one screen, you may have 2 screens, or you may have 3 screens. And it just depends on how much of that space you want to use up for your workspace. For me right now, I have 2 screens. I have a large screen and just a small screen that I just in my garage. And so I've been using that for my color scopes and just on my audio mixer. Now on my main screen, I normally have my source monitor and my playback monitor and just my timeline. And then I'll have all my project bins and clips on the left side and just my effects window on the right side. Now if I'm doing heavy effects, I'm going to be going into my effects workspace where I can go in and look at the keyframes and just adjust all of the settings that I need to. Now if I'm doing color correction, I go into my color correction workspace and then I'll have my scopes up and I'll have a bigger effects window where I can just adjust all of the settings that I need to. And it's just really helpful to get rid of all the stuff that I don't need to be seen. Definitely take a look into your workspaces. You can name them what you need to, and it might just overall just help speed up the process or make you think a little bit more clearly when you're making your edits. Now I know that looking at the keyboard shortcut panel might be a little bit scary just because there's so many different things, but you can set up so many different shortcuts by pressing Shift, by pressing Control, by pressing Alt. You can even use combinations of keys to set up shortcuts as well. So if there's a specific command that you're only going to use maybe once in a while, definitely set that one up as a keyboard shortcut, because it is going to save you in the long run and make you a little bit faster. Thanks again for watching this video, guys. I hope that it made you think about your keyboard shortcuts and your workspaces, but don't spend all of your time making keyboard shortcuts or setting up those workspaces just perfect. You gotta edit some videos, you know? But thanks again, hit that like button if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one.